Hello and welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to be dueling against Devil, who is a Barb from Europe. And if you notice my Paragon level, it's 32. I bought some budget gear on Europe for roughly, I think 800 mil or so, including the gems and everything. So I'm using, my gear is still pretty good, mostly because the prices on Europe are a little bit lower than on US. But only the prices for PvP gear are lower. But I imagine it'll probably pick up in Europe as well. So the reason why I'm making a DH in Europe is because I've pretty much dueled everyone in the US server. So why not just try out dueling some European players and see how it goes. So I'm dueling against Devil, who is a pretty good Barb. I think he's one of, well, people tell me that he's one of the most geared Barbs in Europe, but I can't confirm that. There's no way I can tell because I haven't been playing on Europe much or nearly enough to know this kind of stuff. But he did well in this league called D3CL, which is a PvP 1 versus 1 league. And a background to this video is that what we're actually doing is we're testing Barb versus DH without Barb using Warcry. So the league, in the league's matches, Barbs versus DH are really favorable for Barbs right now. So what the league is trying to do is they're trying to restrict Barbs in some way to make it easier for Demon Hunters. So what we're doing now is we're doing a best of 9 duel against, without him using Warcry. So we're gonna see what happens against my budget gear. So keep in mind that I'm really under geared compared to this guy. So he does actually try multiple setups. His first setup now is to use high DPS but lower EHP. If you notice in the US servers, most Barbs geared towards having like 180, 190, 170 KHP. Whereas on Europe, most of them gear roughly below 170k. Some of them gear towards 200k, but they sacrifice so much DPS. So maybe that's a gear issue, I don't know. But yeah, in this video, he actually tries many setups, so you'll get to see not just one setup, but one of his solutions is to drop Warcry and use Threatening Shout, which is a perfectly reasonable alternative, right? Threatening Shout gives you pretty good fury generation if it hits, but his EHP is a bit too low in this setup. So I got a 1-0 on him there. But in my opinion, he needs to improve his EHP a little bit. Like, he has the gear for it, but he prefers to use DPS gear against Demon Hunters, I think. Other than that, I want to kind of go over the fury problems that Barbs have without Warcry. Like, if you ever think about dropping Warcry, it's probably a really big mistake because you're just going to have so many fury problems. And what you can do as a Demon Hunter against Barbs that do not use Warcry is you can just run, but instead of running and shooting like kiting as you would normally, all you do is you just run and you don't shoot at all. So I got a 2-0 there, and he kind of, I think he's going to switch spec after this. So we're on to game 3. So yeah, what you want to do against Barbs without Warcry is you want to just run, but when you run, so this is assuming that like your prep is down, your pot is down, and you just need to run to wait for your cooldowns. You don't shoot back because when you shoot at Barbs, they also generate fury, right? But Unforgiving alone without Warcry is not enough to keep your fury up. You need another skill that's capable of generating fury, but Barbs don't have much other than Warcry. So that's really the key problem in removing Warcry. Other than that, I mean, it's not a huge difference. They do take a lot more damage, but The biggest difference is just that they have no fury. They can't kill me, right? So here he actually pops Berserker. I didn't even know he switched specs. So he dropped Leap for Berserker, and I was like, what the hell? And he caught me with a crit rend. And yeah, I just died. I got one-shotted. My prep was down. And I wasn't careful enough, like nearly as careful as I should be. But now that I know he has Warcry, I have the choice of being a little bit more careful. What you want to do against Barbs is notice he popped Ignore Pain there. As soon as his Ignore Pain runs out, and if your prep is up, that's when you want to be really, really aggressive. Like you want to just try to kill him as quickly as possible before his Ignore Pain goes back up. So that's exactly what I'm trying to do, but he has Berserker again. Oh my god. It really caught me off guard again. So I think I managed to run away this time. I was just like trying to get used to the spec, but it's kind of unexpected at times. In general, you don't want to use Berserker, and Devil actually knows this. He's just trying different things because a lot of things aren't working for him right now without Warcry. So that's the reason why he's doing this. So moving on, I think I mentioned quite a bit. One thing that I want to mention is if you use Threatening Shout as a Barb, keep in mind that maybe it will be useful for Demon Hunters too, but keep in mind that the rune that reduces Demon Hunters' move speed and attack speed, like any rune, is you can actually cancel that with Smokescreen. So if you get Threatening Shouted, it's very useful to cancel it with Smokescreen, or else the Barb is going to catch you. So here I ran out of Discipline, and as a DH, when you're out of Discipline, you're pretty much dead. And that's exactly what you saw there. I was a bit too inefficient with my disc, and I was kind of spamming smoke a little too much. So I have to watch out for that in the upcoming duels. So yeah, Smokescreen removes Threatening Shout, and if you're a Barb, what you want to do is you want to actually use Threatening Shout on Demon Hunters, but you want to use it as a way of draining their discipline, because just like you saw earlier, the moment I'm out of discipline, I'm basically dead, right? And Threatening Shout does a really, really good job in draining disc. Like, see here, I'm empty in disc because I had to Smokescreen. I had no choice, because if I don't Smokescreen, he's just going to catch me. Like there, he popped the Berserker and got a crit again. Wow. So what happened there was I got stunned and I was out of disc. So when you're out of disc and you're stunned, you can't prep either, right? So what he did was he popped Berserker and he basically got a crit, and that's just an instant one shot. I mean, when I'm stunned like that, it's a bit too much. But I'm getting adjusted to this. I don't think I'm gonna start playing really, really carefully at this point on. And from this point on, what I really do is I try to abuse the Fury a lot more than I did in the previous fights. So he tried to get a Berserker there, but it didn't work. If a Barb just uses Berserker, just Vault. And Vault a little bit more frequently than you normally do, and you can just get away no problem. So in a way, it's kind of like a wasted skill slot, but you can really, really catch a Demon Hunter off guard with with Berserker. But in general, it doesn't work, and I think most people know this already too. So I'm trying to play really cautiously here, even though I have prep and pots. I don't want to. I want to try to get in a few crits before I'm aggressive, right? And one of the most kind of important things, well, there's two against Barbs. The first is you need to just stay just outside of the rend range, and the second one is don't miss your impales, because you need to make every single impale count. Like you saw, like you saw there, I shot at the back, and then I knew he's going to turn the corner, so I didn't even bother chasing him forward. I just went in the other direction to cut him off. So that's one of the things that you can use to kind of not miss impales. And when you do vault in close to them like that, make sure to always back away. Here he got me, which is too bad, but maybe we'll find an example. Okay, so I think the score is 3-3 at this point. Two of those were that berserker kill that like really caught me off guard, but it's not really due to the Warcry problems or anything like that. It was kind of on my end. I made a pretty bad mistake, but whatever, no excuses. So here I'm really low HP, but I still keep my preps for the last second. If some of you have noticed already that I don't pop prep until I absolutely need it. And the reason why I do that is because I always try to use pots first, and if my pot is just on cooldown, I try to wait for the pot rather than prep, because prep is like a 45-second cooldown, so I would much rather use the 30-second cooldown instead. And that's why actually another thing that's really useful in DH versus Barb is health globe gear. You need at least one piece of gear that has bonus to health globe. So in my case I have shoulders, but maybe I'll do a video on my setup just as an example to show you guys. But on my Europe gear, my shoulders I have a vile ward that's like dex vit and plus 12k health globes, and it's so useful. Like you'll see as I heal, maybe I'll heal now. Yeah, I healed like 30% HP just from one pot, and if you think about it, that's half a prep. And if you have two health globe pieces of gear, that's almost like, I don't know, 3/4 of a prep or something like that. The point is it heals for a lot, and it's really worth it. So now it's 4-3, and now he tries a really tanky setup. Like he's going shout with I can't see that. I think it's 190k HP. But still, he has no Warcry. Like he can't kill me. It's too hard to catch Demon Hunter without Warcry, in my opinion. So we're going to kind of see why it's well, I guess we already did see it. I was just running and he doesn't have enough fury to keep his sprint up. So even if he has 200k HP, the key difference here is that although he has 200k HP, he doesn't have his Blackthorn set, so that means I'm doing a lot more damage, right? So when you're facing Barbs that have really high HP, that means chances are their mitigation is a bit lower. So that was his setup now. And now he's doing a little bit more corner camping, if you noticed, trying to stay alive, but there are ways. Like what I do is I typically vault towards the corner and I try to get an impale off as quickly as possible, and that usually works. See, even though he's corner camping, he has to come out sometime to try to get a crit. So right now he's low HP. I'm not sure. I haven't been following. I'm rewatching the video. I haven't been following if he used Ignore Pain or not. But at this point, I think he already has it back. So even though he has Ignore Pain, I still want to be as aggressive as I can. But he actually didn't use Ignore Pain, so that's too bad on his part. I think it was on cooldown. I'm not too sure though. So good game, Devil. The score was 5-3, and just a little message there: no Warcry, no chance. With better gear, it's really hard for Barbs. So see you guys later.